What is going on, everybody? So, we have a TTM. Um, so, today, normally I try to do two TTMs in a video, just two at a time. But today we're actually going to do three. So, first one we are going to do is Anthony Thomas. Now, some of you probably know the Anthony Thomas from the Colts. Obviously, this is his rookie card, drafted in 1990. Played with the Colts for quite a bit. If we actually take a look at this card here, okay, it doesn't actually say how long he played with the Colts, so I look like a fool. Anyways, he played with the Colts for quite some time, and then he went and he played with Carolina Panthers for quite a bit. And I remember him very well when he came over to the Carolina in 96 and played, I think, all the way up to like 98, 99, something like that. And he was a very good running back. I believe, I want to say he was like one of the first to get 1,000 yards in a season for the Carolina Panthers. I can't really remember. But he was awesome running back. I mean, he just did work. He had an awesome mustache. If you see in both of these, he had a mustache there and he has a mustache there. So I sent both these cards, and like I said, I don't normally send two cards, but if I have just two sitting in front of me while I'm, writing out my letter, I just say F it and throw it in there. But what I like to do is when I throw in the two cards, I throw them in there and I say, hey, you can keep one if you like. And in this situation, I told him, I was like, hey, I'm throwing in, I threw in two cards. If you like, you can go ahead and keep one. I'd prefer to keep the Carolina Panther one due to the fact that I'm a Carolina fan. And you can keep your rookie card. Well, instead, he signed both of them. He signed this one here, A. Johnson, but it looks like it says A. Jesus. And this one actually says A. Johnson, and then Jesus down at the bottom. He writes Jesus because he's very big into religion, into his Christianity, and he actually sent a third card. So he signed both of these and then sent a third card back. And this is Athletes in Action. This is from Victory, and if you know this line, this is actually a line where they, if they're religious, they have a card like this and gives a little bit of stuff all about them, their favorite scriptures, stuff like that. So in turn, I told him, hey, keep one. He basically said, no, you keep one, and sent me this one, which was really cool, and I really appreciate that. And this goes right into the collection for my Carolina Panthers, which is really awesome, which I've been building up. So that's cool. Now the next one, again, I sent two because they were just sitting in front of me, and I was like, forget it, why not? So I sent to Jim Crash Jensen. Now, I didn't know anything about this guy prior to me writing him, so I did my research on this dude. So this dude played with Dan Marino. This guy was drafted a quarterback. And then when they drafted Dan Marino, this guy moved to the back of the line. And instead of him accepting being a backup quarterback, he decided he was like, I'll do whatever it takes to be on the field. And so he went and basically got the nickname Crash for his, just hard style, just football, how he just played. I mean, he just head first. And then he got the nickname Mr. Do-It-All. And then he got the nickname the Human Swiss Army Knife. Now, I say this because if you watch football right now, there's a kid by the name of Taysom Hill who's on the Saints. He's that quarterback, the backup quarterback. But you always see him as a running back. You'll see him as a tight end or a wide receiver. Well, that's what Jim used to do. Jim used to, and he also used to play on the in special teams as well. Same thing with Taysom Hill. This guy did it all. He did the running back, he did the tight end, he did the wide receiver, he did special teams, he played quarterback as well, Mr. Do It All. And I watched some highlights on this guy, and this guy was nasty. I mean, he did some work. Just like if you watch Taysom Hill, which I'm excited to see what happens with that kid, because of what he was doing, how he was doing it all. And when I was watching highlights of this guy, it got me even more excited. And so I said, you know what, I'm sending this, because this guy right here, in my opinion, now I'm sure there's other guys that did it too, I just don't know who they are. When I read, how he did all of what he did and watched his highlights, to me, it spoke volume in words about how this guy is. This guy was willing to do whatever it took for him to get on that field to help his team win. Most people will just accept where they're at and just be like, man, I'm not going to play. I'm just going to sit on the bench and collect a check. This guy said, forget that. Put me in, coach. And, that also to me sends a statement to younger kids. If your position got taken, if you were wanting to be a quarterback and there was another quarterback better than you and that's who they wanted to play, don't just sit there and just be sad about it and sit on the bench behind that guy. Don't wait for an opportunity. Create your own opportunities. Get in the game. Do what you got to do. There's another kid too. I wanna say there's another kid as well that did the same thing. Let me see here. Hold on. I have it. I have his card. Hold on. I have it close by here. There's another kid who did the same thing just recently. Where's he at? There he is. In this new draft class, okay, some of you guys may not even know this, but I'm gonna talk about him in a second. I'm gonna finish this out. So Jim Jensen, he signed this. Now both these guys here, Anthony Thomas and Jim Jensen, they both signed this, and it only took 8 days for these guys to send back. Now, like I'm talking about how this guy basically said, whatever it takes. That's what kids' attitudes need to be these days, is whatever it takes to get in the game. Don't just get behind anybody. And when I say that, I'm going to show you this next card here of this next kid who just got drafted. Okay, this kid here, David Sills, the 5th. Now, this kid right here, you're probably going like, oh, we don't really know who this kid is. That's fine. I'm about to tell you real quick. This isn't a TTM, but I'm going to tell you this real quick. This kid was given a scholarship when he was like, I want to say 10, 11 years old, something like that. Look him up. He was given a scholarship to a college at a young age. The kid was supposed to be primed to be one of the best quarterbacks ever. That's all the kid did. The dad would just pay for him to get, quarterback training, all this stuff. Did all kinds of crazy stuff. Quarterback. He was supposed to be the next big quarterback. Well, in his high school career, he broke his hand, which then messed up his fundamentals as a quarterback of throwing. Well, the kid kept pursuing went through his whole high school career pursuing, but through his whole high school career, he kept getting hurt. Then he went to college. Now, he went to this one college. I forgot which college it was. It's not going to say on this one. But he went to another college where, as a matter of fact, I think it was Virginia. I think he went to Virginia and he was a backup quarterback and he wanted to play quarterback, couldn't play it, so he went to another college. Tried doing it again. He went to like a D1 college or something like that. Didn't work out for him. As he sat there all by himself on the porch at home going, dang it, what am I going to do now? I can't be a quarterback. I lost all fundamentals after I broke my hand. I can't do it. Well, the coach from this school, West Virginia, called me and said, look, listen, I'll get you a full ride, come back to here, but I want to play you at wide receiver. The kid said, you know what, F it, went back and became one of the best wide receivers for West Virginia, while this man, Will Greer, was the quarterback at that same time. Look up this kid and watch his highlights as a wide receiver, all you're gonna see is dimes coming from Will Greer right to him. Amazing. And both of these guys got drafted, both of them. And this kid never gave up. Never gave up. He tried his hardest to be as a quarterback. Didn't work. Tried. I mean, he tried hard as he could to do work as a quarterback, and then it didn't work out, and then turned around and said, F it, I'm going to be the wide receiver, and now is a really good wide receiver. I mean, on the back here, you could see the 65 reception, 986 yards, 15 touchdowns. I mean, the kid was pretty nasty. I mean, he did pretty damn good work. Now, that being said, never give up on what you want to do, and don't just settle, is what I'm trying to say on that one. And that's what Jim Jensen did, and that's what Taysom Hill's doing, and that's what this kid David Seals doing. Now surprisingly enough, I'm knocking camera around. Surprisingly enough, this all kind of rolls into this next TTM. And the story behind this TTM here, this is from John Harbaugh. I'm sorry. This is from John Harbaugh. Now, I wrote John Harbaugh a letter. I didn't write a TTM. I wrote a letter to him expressing how I respect this man in an off-the-field manner. Like everything he does on the field, it is what it is. I didn't care. I didn't care. I'm not a big Ravens fan or anything like that. Just, I'm not. I don't care about the Ravens like that. But I recently read a book called Brian Pillman, Crazy Like a Fox. Now, within that book, Brian Pillman and John Harbaugh were college roommates, along with teammates on a football team. And these guys just became the best of friends. Well, if you know who Brian Pillman is, he was a WWE wrestler. Well, Brian Pillman, he passed away, but he had 2 kids. He actually had a couple kids, but 2 legitimate that were his, if I remember correctly. Now, John Harbaugh, throughout the time after his death, Brian Pillman's death, took the time to help Pillman's kids, talking with Pillman's mom and everything like that, helping her out in whatever way she may need, along with the kids. Brian Pillman Jr., who's now an independent wrestler, who's doing quite well for himself, he gained a lot of help and a lot of guidance in life from John Harbaugh. He reached out and helped the kid in many, many ways, through college, through his wrestling career now, everything like that. If you read the book, it's a phenomenal book. Brian Pillman, Crazy Like a Fox. Beautiful, phenomenal book. One of the best biographies I've ever read. Now, in that book, I learned a lot about what this guy had done off the field for this man, for his family, and it just blew me away. I mean, it just blew me away, because you don't hear about people doing selfless acts like what he did for them at all. You barely hear anything about it, and you barely hear about the fact that he actually did it. And the only reason why I knew about it was because I read the book, and I've watched or I've listened to podcasts with Brian Pillman Jr. talking about it. Now, I sent him a letter telling him how much I thought he was awesome for doing what he did, how much I respect him for that. And I put in the letter, towards the end, I said, look, listen, I'm just writing you to say thank you for being a bigger person than most people would ever be in life, and I appreciate you. Thank you very much. I don't want anything back in return. I'm just writing you to write you. And a couple weeks have gone by, and I got up this afternoon, because I work nights. Got up this afternoon, and there was a big Baltimore Ravens letter on my chair, and I was like, oh my god, look at this. And talking to my wife, and opened it up, and this is what it was. So he wrote, to Joseph, go Ravens, John Harbaugh. So that's pretty awesome. He didn't have to do this. He spent his on his own accord, sent this. I didn't send a return envelope or nothing like that. Like I said, I just sent a freaking letter saying I appreciate you for what you've done, for other people. And he sent this back, and I thought, this is awesome, and just in itself, this is awesome. And by me saying that it kind of works well within the fact by saying never give up, is that Brian Pillman Jr. never gave up on himself, and John Harbaugh never gave up on those kids. And John Harbaugh is such a selfless person to do something like that. It's just amazing. And that's what I'm saying. Like, man, just work hard at it. I mean, Jim Jensen, that was his thing. Worked hard at doing whatever. This young kid worked hard to get to where he's at now, being drafted in the NFL in 2019. This man right here, Anthony Johnson. Now, mind you, I just want you guys to know that this never actually supposed to turn out the way it was. It just kind of fell into place. This man right here busted his butt, worked hard, found Jesus, all that stuff, man. I mean, that's some cool stuff. I know I'm getting a little spiritual on you guys, or sentimental, or whatever you want to call it, but it's just crazy how this whole TTM kind of blended together. It was weird, interesting. And then the fact that I learned about this kid and his story was also interesting. So I'm gonna put him over here off to the side. I don't even know if he'll even sign at TTM. Maybe I might send to him. We'll see what happens. That's a double, so I could probably send to him. So to Mr. Anthony Johnson, I appreciate you. Thank you very much for returning my my TTM. Thank you, Jim Jensen, for returning my TTM as well, and thank you, Mr. Harbaugh, or Coach Harbaugh, for sending me that. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Look for that book, Brian Pillman, Crazy Like a Fox. It's amazing. Look this kid up on YouTube. There's a great YouTube video on this kid. Gentleman did a whole video on him. It's really cool. I'll see if I can find it, and I'll link it in the description. You guys can check it out. I mean, it's very interesting on this kid right here. So look out for this kid. I forgot where he got drafted, but he got drafted. So thank you, everybody. Have a good day.